Knoxville, Tennessee, just backing the aircraft into the hangar so we can load it up and get ourselves going. This is the first day of our ferry flight. We're heading up to Bangor, Maine to export the aircraft, and then to Goose Bay from there, where we'll do an overnight stop. And the following day after that, we'll be heading on out to Narsarsuaq and then into Reykjavik. So we're going to load up, get ourselves ready to go. So we've been towed down to the Charlie apron. It's quite busy here this morning, so they're sort of towing us down and getting us out of the way. So myself and Narcissus, we're heading on down. Got our man putting us here, going past all the Texas Southern University aircraft and everything. It's great. So heading on out. I'm going to get down to the Charlie apron here at Knoxville, power up the aircraft and get ourselves ready to go. We had a couple of little camera issues on the way out of Knoxville, but stay tuned, we managed to get it all sorted, and there's some fantastic footage coming up of our trip across from the United States to Romania. Okay, so we're airborne out of Knoxville. We're just passing 16,000 up to flight level 230 now, and a lot of rain. So we've got the Cirrus XM, the next rad weather on the screen here. We've also got the weather radar in auto mode, just seeing what's going on, and it sort of looks like a little bit further clear to our right, but it's looking okay. Temperature's about -5 out here at the moment, but we're looking good. We don't have any ice on the wings of the aircraft, and we're pretty much in this solid stuff as we're going up. It's pretty smooth. There's no bumps or lumps or anything around, but yeah, it's going alright.
132.62 on boy 3371.
So still climbing, passing flight level 212 for flight level 310 now. We've got a little bit of weather on the weather radar still. We were having a look around to see what the tops of a few of these things were, and up on the here it's sort of
Delta, contact Indianapolis Center 124.57.
13457 for Delta. Okay, 13457, that's in there. We can switch that over and give Indianapolis a call. Doesn't say it up there. I think he might have said 124, but let's see. Indianapolis Vision Jet 34 Echo Delta is passing flight level 217 for flight level 310. Yeah, I think he might have said 124. Yeah, that's a bit better. I read back 34, but he didn't correct me. So it's Indianapolis, hello. Vision Jet 34 Echo Delta is passing flight level 222 for flight level 310.
Vision Jet 34 Echo Delta, Indy Center, good morning.
Nice. Yeah, so looking on here, you'll see some of these tops at 15,000. Here we go, we're just coming out of the sort of a bit of a layer, really. We'll get above and get into some clear blue hopefully shortly. So when we got airborne, it was pretty busy. There was a lot of rain, and we've been in pretty much solid cloud now all the way up, and we're just now coming out into the blue at about 26,000 feet. And it was predicted. We did know it was going to happen, so we knew it would be in the clouds quite a lot. But in fact, we've had no ice at all on the leading edge of the wing. It's now -24, and it was pretty wet, I think, so I'm not too sure.
Send a 300
that's probably why we never picked up any ice, because it was sort of pouring down with rain, but it was good. We've got a 65 knot tailwind helping us out, and so we're in the climb, doing 300 knots of ground speed.
634 with you at flight level 260.
Push 5634, Indy Center, roger.
And coming up into the blue now. So just coming past Psycho intersection, and
Moxie
got
172.
smooth ride, but look at this, we're benefiting from an 80 knot tailwind, giving us 392 knots of ground speed. They have given us a direct to Hancock, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to check out here what we're doing as far as Psycho is concerned. So here it says that we should have been travelling for an hour and 5 minutes, and here on the flight time we've got an hour and 4 minutes. So that's awesome. So what I'm going to do on here is just go onto there and put an hour and 4 minutes. So hour and 4, and it says here that we should have used, or we should have remaining 186 gallons of fuel. So up on here we can see on the fuel on board, this is a totalizer 186. The fuel actual gauges are showing slightly more, can be a little bit of a miscompare on those. So 186, so that's awesome. So 186, so here it's saying I should have used 83.6 gallons of fuel. What I can do is I can just move that over to the weather radar and go into aircraft systems, engine fuel, and up here it's showing 81 gallons of fuel used. So it's amazing, so 81 gallons of fuel. So every half an hour or so, you can see I did another one up here, then every half an hour or so, I'm just going to double check, utilising my flight, my nav log within my note shelf, so that I can write on it, and just monitor the flight and see how I'm doing to see if we're looking like we're on target, which is good. So yeah, so we're at flight level 310 at the moment, getting 390 knots of ground speed, and we have about an hour and 20 minutes remaining until we land at Bangor, Maine, and here it's giving us 100 gallons of fuel remaining when we get there.
Ride improved yet?
We're all good.
Yeah, about when you
Happy Narcissus. We're all happy.
Occasionally chops, but much better when we checked on.
We're about 45 minutes out of Bangor, Maine now, just clearing the weather, which is nice. So, so it's been quite a long time actually in the clouds. It's, we're still pretty much in the top of it. I think if we could go 1,000 foot higher or so, we'll be out of it.
Oh, wonderful.
But what we're going to do on here now is just going to have a look at the Bangor weather. So I'm just going to go into the Bangor Airport tab, have a look at waypoint information, go into weather, and our next round of weather would have been downloading. We can go into Metal Raw, and we can see here, just wanted to see what the wind was doing really, so I can see what runway I'm going to use. So 210 at 7 knots is what's there, so you'll probably be using runway 15 as far as that's concerned, and 3016 is the altimeter setting, and what I'll tend to do on here is I'll just set the altimeter setting up in here anyway, so 3016, so I've got that set there for later on when I need to use it when I come down below 18,000. But what I can do now is quite happily go into the procedure button, push the approach. I've got the ILS Yankee for runway 15, and I've actually got the plate up there as well already. I was having a look at it a bit earlier, and then so Bangor ILS Yankee for 15. Here I can see what my transition is, and if I was coming from the south, which is where I would be coming from, I'd probably go to ICX if I was going to do the full procedure, to come in through ICX, the initial approach fix, around the procedure turn and in on the approach. So let's choose that. So we've got ICX on there, and it says, do you want to fly the course reversal? Well, yeah, if I was coming in from the south, I would need to fly that course reversal, so I'll say yes on there. And then minimums, so I can see down here my minimums are 392 feet on the ILS, so I can tap on minimums 392. Some people might round it up to 400 or so, but I'll go 392. Here we got the India Juliet Victor Hotel and the primary frequency, which I can see up on here as well, so I'll just cross-check that, make sure that looks right, which it does. And here I've got the sequence of events as well, so we've got the initial approach fix, the hold, which is the procedure turn, Maine, runway 15, so there's the procedure turn, Maine, runway 15 will be the runway threshold, and then after that we've got LSU for the missed approach with the hold, and there's LSU and the hold. So I'm happy with that, so I'll just load that into the flight plan. So now what we've got here is we've got our en route section, and after the en route section we've got the ILS Yankee for runway 15 starting at ICX, and then what we can do on here is that if we get activated for vectors to finals or something like that, we can purely tap on the approach and we can activate vectors to finals if we don't get the full approach. Or activate approach if we're told to go to IGX for the full procedure. And then up on the screen here, I've got the chart already. I was looking at that earlier on, but the nice thing on this is I can utilize my checklist button and push my checklist button once, which will take me through to the checklist. And in fact here you can see that I haven't even done my cruise check, so thrust is good, ice protection, we actually do have the engine IPS on, and we understand about the de-icing if we're in RVSM airspace, which we are. And there's my descent checklist, which is next. But this checklist button is really good, so I can push and hold that checklist button down for 2 seconds, and it will come through to my approach plate. So the great thing about this is I can just utilize one push for the checklist, push and hold for 2 seconds, goes to my chart when I need it. But we're doing well. Look at this, 93 knots of ground speed, sorry, 93 knots of wind, tailwind, with a 405 knot ground speed. We will be going a little bit quicker. I set my Mach number at 0.525 just to keep us off the barber pole, because it is a little bit choppy every now and then. So in fact we are off at our MCT, but if we could get a little bit quicker, maybe we'll get a little bit more speed. But yeah, so we're now pretty much set up utilising the NextRad weather that came out of the system and loaded the approach plate and the approach into the system, and we'll just listen to the ATIS a little bit later on.
Bangor information echo 1553 Zulu, wind 220 at 7, visibility 10, ceiling 1000 overcast, temperature 5, dew point -1, altimeter 3016. Runway 15, visual approaches in use. Runway 15, inner and middle markers out of service. Bangor TACAN azimuth out of service. Bangor VORTAC not monitored. Advise on initial contact, you have echo.
I can see Bangor Airport just over there in the distance. We are being vectored for the visual, descending down to 3,000 feet now. And oh, a little bit bumpy, so we're bringing the speed back down towards 180 knots. And we're on a heading of 050, and they're just vectoring us around to come in. And I can see the airport over there, so I'm going to give them a call and tell them that I'm visual. Before I get out there with visual of the field.
Number 4 Echo Delta, continue on your present heading as a vector for sequence.
Roger, vectors for sequence, November 3 for Echo Delta. Okay, so I gave him a call to see if he...
4 Echo Delta, can you just start slowing when practical? I do have you following a BE-23 is doing 110 knots over the ground.
Okay, no problem, we'll slow down now, November Echo Delta. Okay, so let's see if we can slow the plane down a little bit. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to reduce my rate of descent to bring the speed of the aircraft here back to below 190 being the flat limit speed. So I'll just level it off, get below the 190 flat limiting speed, which is we're there, and then I'm going to go one stage of flap, and then I'm going to go into FMS on the auto throttle, and now what will happen is it will start slowing us down towards 140, and that will help him out with the flap going down. We could also lower the gear down as well if we wanted to, and that will create even more drag. So we'll just slow it down towards 140, and there I can see
Gear 548
that's in front of us as well. Good.
Maintain 4000, departure
so we're going to come around.
Is 133.6, squawk 5352, hold for release.
So we've been cleared for the visual approach into the airport. The airport is just over there. However, what I've done is I've just activated vectors to finals. I'm now steering myself in. I'm just giving ourselves a little bit of space from that aircraft in front of us. But I've activated vectors to finals. I'm just going to turn myself a little bit further to the right to give myself a little bit of a better intercept on about 100 degrees. So I am going to intercept the localizer.
Maine 85 copies.
So I'm going to intercept the localizer and then go down the glide slope, but I am cleared for the visual approach.
Airport is Foxtrot, current altimeter 3012.
Okay, 3012, we've got set on there, coming up to 3,000 feet, that's nice. So we've got heading, which I'm selecting my own heading. In fact, I'm just going to come around a little bit further to the right, maybe 120, just cut the corner a little bit. That will bring us around onto there. So we've got heading, localizer is armed, autopilot yaw damper and auto throttle is active, altitude 3,000 feet with the glide slope armed as well. We're at 140 knots with the one stage of flap. So I can go into the checklist, there's the flaps, airspeed is 140, going to come down, landing gear is going to go down when I get half scale deflection on the glide path. A little bit bumpy, but looking good.
Number 5 Alpha Alpha, you okay with a 6 mile final?
Yeah, that's fine. 5 Alpha Alpha.
There you go, the localizer is starting to come in.
Heading of 050.
Localizer is now active on the autopilot. The plane's turning in. A half scale deflection on the glide slope, so I'm going to put the gear to the down position. We're below 210 knots. So I always hold my hand on the gear lever until I got 1, 2, 3 greens, which I do. This will come down towards, it will maintain 140 knots. And then at any time I like, I can then go on to full flap. Normally as I intercept the glide path, I will go down onto full flap if I want to fly at 95 knots. But there is an aircraft slower in front of us, so that's what I'm going to do. So here we go, we're just intercepting the glide slope, so now I'm going to go full flap. So flap is now going to the 100%, and the FMS has now gone to 95 knots, and the aircraft is pitching and slowing the airports in front of us. Looking good. Plane is slowing down towards 95.
Maine 85 Heavy, if you make one more
I've got
standard turn in the hole.
The tower frequency is prepped, ready to go, and so is the ground frequency.
For Maine 85, copy.
Okay, aircraft slowing down quite nicely now. We're on the glide, we're on course. Got that synced. We're coming in, just waiting for him to change the tower. 34 Echo Delta, we've got an 8 miles to run.
November 4 Echo Delta, roger, you're clear visual approach runway 15 in connect tower 120.7.
Yep, the visual 120.7, November 4 Echo Delta, bye.
November 5 Alpha Alpha, you're following.
Very good. Bangor Tower, hello, 34 Echo Delta is on a 8 mile final from runway 15.
Endeavour 5254, amend departure instructions. On departure, climb maintain 4000, wind 190 at 5, runway 15, clear for takeoff.
4000, departure, clear for takeoff, 15, Endeavour 5254.
November 34, Echo Delta, Bangor, tower, wind 190 at 5, runway 15, clear to land.
15, clear to land, November 34 Echo Delta.
Endeavour 5254, contact departure, have a good one.
Over departure, Endeavour 5254, see it.
Okay, so we've got the aircraft settled down at about 95 knots, which is the autopilot is still on. We're passing 1400 feet, so we've got about 1000 foot to go, and visual with the runway, and just finishing off the checklist. Landing gear is down, flaps are as required, they're down fully, cabin pressure is nearly on zero, windshield IPS we didn't have on. In fact, the engine IPS I'm now going to turn off because it's 7 degrees centigrade and we don't need that anymore because it's clear outside. We've got the Pappies. I'm on course. Narsarsuaq is doing an amazing job with the videoing. And I'm expecting to land and then got a left turn off the runway a little bit further down.
Wind 190 at 6.
Okay, 190 at 6 knots, a little bit of wind coming from the right hand side. We have been cleared to land, we've got 3 greens, flaps are set, pressurization is on 0. Still doing 95.
Tower, citation 955 Alpha Alpha.
Okay, it's 500 feet. I'm now going to go autopilot off. I'll leave the flight director on.
Necessary for cleaning purposes.
Now what I'm going to do is just going to back off the throttle a little bit, maybe down towards about 20%. That will just help me slow the aircraft down to about VREF plus 5.
Land 15, Alpha Alpha.
Still got the three greens, flaps are set. I've got 2 reds, 2 whites, speed coming back. Still on the glide path, still on the localizer. Got my pappies. Just slowly bleeding the speed back towards the green donut. There's my minimas. Just a tad of power on there. Keeping myself all in the right place. Looking at the numbers as I cross the run numbers. I'm just going to close the throttle smoothly towards idle. All the way down, looking at the end of the runway. A little bit of pitch as we come up. Hold it there, hold it there, hold it there on the centre line. Down we go. Maintaining the centre line, no need to do any heavy braking.
Before Echo Delta, turn left on Mike, contact ground point 901 off.
Left on Mike and then 0.9 went off, November 4 Echo Delta. Okay, so we've got Mike intersection, is just coming up here. So I'm going to come around. I'm not going to touch anything on the aircraft until I've crossed the hold short line. There we go, left on Mike. Around the corner. The charts on the screen here have switched themselves over to the airport diagram, which is really useful. I'm coming across now onto the hold short line. Ground point 9, so I'll switch over to ground point 9. Player ground hello, November 3-4 Echo Delta has just vacated at Mike.
Vision Jet 955 Alpha Alpha Bangor ground, and you're just going to be going to the FBO, correct?
3-4 Echo Delta has just vacated.
Oh, sorry about that. I was looking at the wrong call sign there. Vision Jet 3-4 Echo Delta Bangor ground, you're just going to the FBO, correct?
That's correct. 3-4 Echo Delta.
Roger. Vision Jet 4 Echo Delta, you can taxi the ramp. Will be a right on Alpha, left on Bravo. It does look like they have a follow me coming out for you.
Okay, right on Alpha, left on Bravo, and 3-4 Echo Delta. Great, so while I was there I lifted up my flaps of the up position. The wing and stabiliser IPS is not on, the engine IPS is not on, probe heat is going off, external lights that I don't need, well I'm just going to leave those on for the moment, and then brakes, they were working because I managed to stop. So it's good, and then shut down when we get in. Nice. Got the Maine Air National Guard, KC-135s. And then we're just going to taxi up to the FBO. Get a drop of fuel, clear customs, and then we'll be out of here again to Goose Bay. Okay, we're heading out to the aircraft now, so we've cleared customs in Bangor, Maine, we've fueled the aircraft, we've contacted CAMPASS, and we're just ready now to get ourselves moving to Goose Bay. We're going to get to Goose Bay probably about 4:30 in the afternoon, which is great, which means we can have a little bit of a rest before we head off to Greenland in the morning. Always remember to take off the AOA cover. Very, very important. Just doing my last little check, make sure there's no chocks. I put the chocks over there, so that's good, and there's no plugs. So all the plugs and the AOA cover is out. So that's good, we're all set to go.
An aircraft is attempting transmission on UHF frequency 348.6 coming in broken and unreadable.
Just going to turn this guy down a little bit. Okay, so we've got pre-flight inspection is done, doors are latched, and it shows over here on the right hand side that the doors are closed. Parking brake is on, battery 1 and 2 is on. The gens I'm just going to leave off for the moment for starting. FADEC channel is channel B, which I can just see up here on the PFD, or the MFD, sorry, so I'm just going to make a little note of that. It was A last time, which is perfect. Got a fuel miscompare on here, but that's will change once I go through the initialization. So strobe lights, we're in America, so I'm going to turn them on. Gas messages, just got that. Thrust lever is on idle. Brakes are on hold. I'm going to put the brake on. It's on old now. Engine knob is going to go to run. I can see the fuel pump, I can hear the fuel pump, and we're all clear left and right. So I'm just going to push the start button, and I'm going to check out what's going on the N1. So start button pushed, and here's the N2 is going up. We got light off within 8 seconds. N1 is increasing before that goes to 25. Got ITT and oil pressure is coming up, and then now it sort of starts to self-sustain itself. A little bit of more of a peak on the ITT, and then that comes up. Really lovely start, and then N2 and N1 they're settled. So a lovely start on that one. So that's all good. Engine IPS is not required. I'm going to turn my generators on now before it starts shouting at me. ECS control, I can now turn on the environmental control system and just click that one off there, and the defog, I'll turn that off shortly, that will come on there. We have no external GPU. Oxygen master was left on. Avionics initialization, so we can go into initialization. Databases are all good. We acknowledge all of our things that we did last time, so we're happy with that. We're going to do a pre-flight test. So we're going to go fire test. We've got fire up on here, we've got fire warnings here. We're going to do a stall test. Going to make sure with the stall test that I've got my AOA cover in between my seat there.
413 Foxtrot Romeo Bangor.
Information Golf, and request IFR to Goose Bay.
Vision Jet 4 Echo Delta Bangor clearance on request standby.
Roger. Okay, so our clearance is on request, so we're just going to wait for that to come through. In the meantime, comms and navs are all set up. ATIS we've already got. Altimeter was 3012, so 3012 I've got on here. Transponder, I'll just put that on 1200 for the moment, just while we wait for getting a proper squawk code. Heading we know is going to be a runway.
Number 3 Foxtrot Romeo clearance available, advise ready to copy.
Okay, so we're just going to go on runway 15. So just put the heading on 150, so that's good. Altitude, I'm not too sure what we're going to do at the moment, but we'll do that shortly. Flight controls, so I'm just moving the control columns around, making sure that everything's good, and looking out the window to make sure that the control surfaces move in the appropriate manner. So that's good. Trim is set. I tend to just go for about 4 or 5 degrees on the pitch trim. Flaps, I'm going to set the flaps there up at the moment, just going to set them to the 50%, and they're going down visually outside as well. Electric roll trim is set, and make sure up on here I've got the auto throttle and the 2 takeoffs, and when we get our clearance then I will put in a heading or a nav and what altitude we're going to fly to as well. That's good. Pitch is at 10 degrees. CAS messages are all set, so we've got probe and parking brakes, so I'm happy with that. And then brakes released.
Vision Jet 4 Echo Delta clearance available. And do have a quick question for you. Would you like to go direct to Goose Bay, or would you like to fly the filed route?
Direct Goose Bay will be amazing. 34 Echo Delta.
34 Echo Delta, roger. You are cleared to the Goose Bay Airport via fly runway heading radar vectors direct. On departure, climb and maintain 10,000. Expect flight level 270, 10 minutes after departure. Departure frequency 118.902, squawk 7366.
November 34 Echo Delta, we're cleared to Goose Bay. Initially runway headings and vectors. We're going to climb initially to 10,000. Expect flight level 270, 10 minutes after. 118.92 is the next frequency, 7366 the squawk.
Vision Jet 4 Echo Delta, readback is correct. Engine start, pilot's discretion, advise ready to taxi.
Roger, advise ready to taxi, start our discretion. 34 Echo Delta. Okay, great. That wasn't too bad at all. So we've got runway heading, which I've already got up on here, runway 15, and then we've got 5,000 feet. So I'll just dial that in to 5,000 feet. So we've got that on it. So 5,000 feet was the last one. It's 10,000 feet on this one. So 10,000 feet, 3012 is set. We're expecting flight level 270 later on, and we've got the ground, the departure. That's the tower, and then departure frequency. And Narcis put 3766 in there as a squawk, so that's great. So what I can do on here as well, as I can move this over to here, I can go onto charts. This will bring up the airport diagram, expecting to taxi up here to hold on runway 15 and probably come out via Bravo and then along Alpha. Great. I think we're all set. You all set, Narcissus?
Yeah, perfect.
Perfect. We're all good. November 3-4 Echo Delta. We're ready for takeoff.
Vision Jet 4 Echo Delta, Bangor ground, runway 15, taxi by Alpha, verified information Golf.
15 Alpha and Nathan, we have Golf. November 3-4 Echo Delta.
Roger, thank you, sir.
Okay, so landing lights going on. We're all clear left, power. We'll taxi ourselves out to the appropriate yellow line and get ourselves going. Great.
Number 34 Echo Delta Bangor Tower, wind 220 at 5, runway 15, clear for takeoff.
Runway 15, clear for takeoff, November 3-4 Echo Delta. Okay, good look left, there's nothing coming in. Good look right, past the KC-135. And so probe heat is going on. That gets rid of the rest of the CAS messages. We're all clear left, we're all clear right. 1820 Zulu is the time. Right up on the runway. Okay, lining up, just going to come slightly to the left of the centre line so I don't go on the lights. Okay, and I've got heading on there, and a flight level change. Okay, so going up to about 50% power. All looking good. Happy with that, going to release the brakes. Up into MCT, and then through MCT into takeoff. Okay, power set, airspeed's alive. Temperature pressures are all good in the green. 60 knots. And continuing. 70 knots. Coming up towards 85. And we'll rotate. Off the ground. Just going to wait a little bit of time because we've got loads of runway available just in case we need to come back down. So brakes going on and off. Okay, good. Gear's now going to come to the up position. As it goes up, I'm just trimming forward. I'm going to keep it about 7.5 degrees pitch up. Speed's good. I'm above 115. Flaps are going to go to the up position. And climbing away quite happily. Flight level change has taken over. Just pitching with the flight director. Still got full power set, which I'm happy with. A little bit of trim. That'll help me accelerate towards.
Number 4 Echo Delta, contact departure.
Hello, departure. November 4 Echo Delta. There you go, so I'm at now 165, so I'm happy with that, so I'm just going to go autopilot on. The aircraft comes back to MCT and the plane pitches for the climb. Amazing. Okay, over to departure. Departure, hello. Vision Jet 3-4 Echo Deltas, passing 1500 for 10,000, straight ahead.
Cirrus 3-4 Echo Delta Bangor departure, radar contact, turn left direct Goose Bay.
Left direct Goose Bay, November 3-4 Echo Delta. Amazing. Okay, so we'll scroll down the flight plan, direct to Goose Bay, hit the direct to button, activate it. You'll see here direct to of 609 miles, and then we're climbing away, aircraft's pitching, GPS is set, and we're on our way. Thrust is set at MCT, engine parameters are all looking good, cabin pressure is starting to pressurise. Ice protection, we don't need on at the moment, but we are going to go through some clouds, so I'm just going to push the engine IPS on now, just so I don't forget as I enter the clouds. And altimeter is still on the same setting at the moment, the altimeter setting for Bangor, Maine. Good. And off we go. Just sat in the top of the clouds here, just about on the edge of it. We're at flight level 270, we're in Canada now, and the aircraft doesn't have the FAA LOAs for us to go RVSM, so we're now sat here at flight level 270, which will be the case for the rest of the trip. We're just crossing the Canadian border, and Halton VOR is just to the north of us as we pass by. So what I'm going to do on here is I'm just going to have a look and see what we're supposed to be doing. So Halton here, so as we approach there, it says here we're supposed to have 257 gallons left on board. We actually have 255, which actually is pretty good because it was 2 gallons less than what we thought it was going to be. So that's 255, and it says we were meant to be flying for 21 minutes, and we've got 23 minutes on there. So that's looking good. So 23 minutes on there, and then if I just have a quick home, click across into the aircraft systems, go into engine and fuel, I can see up there it says we should have used 41 gallons of fuel, and down on here it says 39. So in fact we're not doing too badly. That might have been because we leveled off at flight level 230 for sort of 5 minutes before we actually climbed to 270. But that's looking good. Everything as per the flight plan is looking good, and as predicted, we're sat just on top of the clouds as well. So we're happy. Everything's looking good. You're happy?
Very.
We're all very happy. The sun is starting to set behind us. It's still quite high in the sky, but we're heading north-east bound. We're still at 27,000 feet. But look at that crosswind. 113 knots of wind coming from the left-hand side of the aircraft. But the clouds are broken up a little bit now, so we've got at least some nice views of some tundra down below. And we've got about 45 minutes to run. It'll be dark by the time we get into Goose Bay. So we're going to be landing there in about 45 minutes. So we'll be starting our descent shortly. So we've listened to the ATIS, runway 26 is in use. This is what we'll end up doing the RMP approach. 270 at 9 knots, the wind, and 15 statute miles and just a few clouds around. So we're going to load up the RMP approach for runway 26. So I've got that on my iPad here, and we can see that the RMP for runway 26 and Mazin is probably the direction we're going to come in via for the initial approach fix, and so through Mazin and then down and then on the approach. So just in here we can have a look at doing that again. So in the flight plan we got our flight plan set, and I've actually set here a vertical navigation descent just to be over the top of the airport, just to give ourselves a rough indication of when we need to descend. However, we'll go into the procedure button, we'll select the approach, so it's Goose Bay. We'll scroll down till we find the RNAV GPS runway 26. Mazin was the one that we said that we're going to do, and then the minimas, we can have a look on here, and it's giving minimas, LPV minimas of 353 feet. So we can tap into minimas, 353, select that. The SBAS frequency, if we wanted to have a look at that and cross-check it, to 80664, so we've got that on there, and that on there as well. And if we wanted to preview that as far as looking on it, we can have a show on the map, because we don't have the charts for Canada on this aircraft. But if I go show on map, it will actually show me the approach coming through Mazin and then down through Bayer, Datka, and then down into the runway. And if we're happy with that, we can just go in and we can turn that off again. It goes back onto the map, and then we can just load that into the flight plan. And so now we've got our flight plan all the way down, and then the en route, and we've got the rest of it from here. These ones are X'd out at the moment because I did select 0 above ground level at Goose Bay, so it's assuming that we're going to be below that, but there's nothing to worry about. Yeah, so the approach is loaded, we got the ATIS, we just need to start descending in about 8 minutes time, and we'll make our way down into Goose Bay. The cloud is breaking up, and we're starting to see the ground again after it got a bit cloudy, and also here we can see that the crosswind has almost halved now, but it's been smooth flying even though it's been a big crosswind. So yeah, so we'll make our way in for runway 26 into Goose Bay. Okay, slight change of plan. The arrestor cables are actually in the up position on runway 26, So they're going to give us a runway 33 with a slight crosswind. So they've now cleared us direct to Nabub. So really simple. All I'm going to do on here now is just go into the procedure button, go into the approach selection, go down to runway 33, which is there, Nabub, which is on here, Nabub. The minimas are slightly different, 349, so not massively different, so 349, enter, and then we'll go load and activate, and what that means is the aircraft will now go directly to Nabub. There we go. So it's now direct to Nabub, and it's now turning right, and we do have a vertical path indication, so I'll let them know that we're ready for descent. Remember, 3-4 Echo Delta, we're ready for descent.
3-4 Echo Delta, descend 6,000, Goose altimeter 2981.
Descend 6,000 on 2981, November 3-4 Echo Delta. Great, so there we go. So we've now got 6,000. I'm going to dial in here. We've just missed the vertical path, but that's no drama. So let's go 6,000 onto there. And then the way that we can deal with this is a couple of different ways. We can either go vertical speed on here and start dialing the vertical speed down to overtake the vertical navigation profile, which is in magenta, and that will catch up with the profile. Or the other thing we can do is we can go into Dumro, which is what the descent profile is based upon, go into there, go vertical navigation direct, and then what it does, it now resets the vertical path, and then the path hopefully will take over like that, and now it's going down on the vertical path. So you can either overtake your descent path to catch up with it, or select a new direct to navigation in the flight plan, and it will start going down. Good, so we're on our way down, so it's time for the checklist. So thrust levers as required. Landing field elevation, 160 feet. On here, get that to focus a little bit, there you go, 160 feet, so we're all good. Ice protection, so we don't have the engine IPS on, and in fact that's okay because it's pretty clear outside. Altimeter setting we will change as we get down through 18,000 feet. Seat belts and brake pressure and approach briefing we have done. So the next thing for us to do after the lights, which are already on, then is to do the flaps 50 and slow the plane down. So we're all good to go.
Unfortunately, the microphone became unplugged on our way into Goose Bay, hence the failure of the audio. But while I'm here, I thought I'd take this opportunity to first of all thank you for watching the video. Subscribe if you'd like to get alerts, and it does also help the channel for future videos also. But the next video, part 2, will be us departing out of Goose Bay inbound to Narsarsuaq, where the weather in Narsarsuaq was just outstanding and the views were incredible. So keep an eye out for that one, and also into Reykjavik after that, where we had a very icy runway and an even more icy apron. So again, thank you for watching the video. I'll leave you in peace to watch the rest of this landing, and thanks once again.
So it's pretty cold here in Goose Bay. It's about -2, -3 now we're on the ground, and it's going to get a little bit colder overnight, so it's well worth spending the little bit of extra money. It's about $300 to have the aircraft in a hangar overnight. Oh, I can even see myself shaking as I'm videoing. So get the aircraft to the hangar for the night so that we don't have to de-ice it in the morning.